Well, first of all, it's a sad day, as you guys can imagine, around here, with the passing of Coach Knight. And first and foremost, I just want to send our condolences and our prayers to Karen and his family, and to the Indiana family as we, go through losing a legend. And, it's, like I said, it's just a sad day here in Bloomington for all of us. But the game, it was great that, we could play as many players. We kind of knew going into it. We were hopeful that we would get off to a fast start, which we did, and thought those vets really looked like that, they were in rhythm and looked like they were having some fun out there, playing fast. And then, we intentionally started putting some of those young kids in there to play with some of the vets because we knew there would be some, not just anticipation, but some butterflies, which we expected. And we wanted our vets to kind of help those guys, get settled in. And then the second half, our plan was to do what we did, and that was just to try to get as many of those minutes to those young kids. And but anytime that you can look at the stats sheet and you have 30 assists, 10 steals, 9 turnovers, shoot the ball the way we did, except for at the free throw line. And then you get to play a lot of kids. We got some really good work done here tonight. So we got to go back to work, though. We got, a lot of work we have to do on the defensive side of the ball, and especially with our young kids. And we have to help them grow up rather fast.
Questions for Coach?
Yeah, Terry, before getting to the game with Bob Knight, did you have any interactions with him before you were named coach and then after he kind of came back here on campus? And I'm curious, is there anything with the students today and your players that, what resonates in terms of what his legacy was?
Well, I think what resonates with me is, to answer your question, I haven't met Coach Knight, but, wouldn't say that when I arrived here, 9 years ago that, he was in and we had conversation. He did come back, for the reunion, which is great. And I got to meet his wife, and she's I've been told, was a pretty spectacular basketball coach in the state of Texas. And so, she's been to a couple of our games with Dr. Rink's wife, Ellie, and I do know that they watched us. I've been told by Pat and Ellie Rink and Dr. Rink that Coach Knight would watch us play. But my early memories of him is just growing up watching Indiana. And at that point, you're searching for what you could perhaps become in life, and there wasn't a lot of, at least we didn't see it on TV, a lot of women, female coaches that we could look at and say, gosh, that's something that I want to do. But, I think for me, it was, Coach Knight was it. He was a fabulous coach. And I fell in love with Indiana men's basketball at a very, very young age. And, he is perhaps maybe one of the reasons that, I'm sitting here today.
Hi, Terry. In regards to Juliana and Lene, what are some things that you liked and maybe room for improvement as well?
Well, I think they both, were excited. I think with Juliana and Bo both, we have to help them get caught up and be so much better on the defensive side of the ball. There's too many times where Jules just gave up direct drives. And part of that was she had happy feet tonight. She was kind of moving and bouncing around and not really in a great stance. It seemed like every time I looked up, somebody was going down the rail, a rail drive, and Jules was giving that up. And so she'll get better. I'm hoping that, this is just the beginning for her and Lene. And, tonight was a big night for them to be able to play in front of Hoosier Nation and with fans in the stands. And, they're pleasers, they're workers, they want to do right. They both have very, very bright futures, but, I'm sure that film is going to tell us that they also have a ways to go.
Terry, you said it. I mean, and getting back to Bob Knight, I mean, he was it in the state of Indiana when you were young.
Right.
We're close to the same age. How did you process not only the coach, but the personality, and kind of illustrate how that was back at that time and what an icon he was in that period?
Well, I think for me, Todd, it was what I didn't know, but I came to know when I became a coach was the discipline part of it. He was so disciplined in the way that he ran his program and the expectation he had for his guys, and he didn't put up with a lot of crap, and I like that about him, and I think it's kind of similar in terms of how we try to run our program. We're very disciplined in nature. We do things a certain way. We certainly have standards. We have expectations, for our players, and we hold their feet to the fire. And if they can't live up to the standards, then, sometimes they have to sit next to me, and sometimes they're no longer in the program. And, we've had to, not lately, but probably in the last several years. But in my early years, we had to make some really tough decisions. But I always went back to, the values that we had, the standards that we were going to have, what we wanted our culture to look like, who we were going to be, what we were going to be, what we were going to stand for, what we weren't going to stand for. And I think a lot of those things, when I look at Coach Knight's teams, it's very similar in the fact that there was a tremendous amount of discipline, and I appreciate that.
Coach, can you talk to us a little bit about the depth? You had 11 different players score tonight. What can you say about the depth this team has going forward?
Well, I think it's exciting. We think we always go into the exhibition game and early games, and we're able to play a lot of people, and that's always great. Because they work so hard in practice, and you want to get them time, and you realize that the only way they're going to get better and the only way they're going to get experience is by playing. And so, tonight was, we were hopeful. We kind of knew that going into it, sort of the game plan in terms of some of those veterans, we only wanted to see them in the first half, a little bit in the third, and then we were going to try to get them out as quickly as we could.
Hey, Coach, we talked multiple times last year about Lexus and sort of what she can be for this program.
Right.
She seemed really comfortable on the floor
Yeah.
tonight. She was able to make the extra pass.
Yeah.
Could we see her role sort of expand this upcoming season?
Yeah, there's no question that Lexi by far has had, one, she had a great summer, but then she had a great preseason for us, inside of our practices, played with a lot of confidence, has really worked on her outside shot. But, I think the thing with freshmen, the best thing about them is they become sophomores, right? And, there's just so much that they don't know that freshman year. And, both she and Lily, and Yarden's a little bit different, and Henna is also, because they've been playing, Yarden had been playing professionally. So, she's even though she's young, she's old, if that makes any sense. But Lexi and Lily both look completely different than they did a year ago in terms of comfort, confidence, and it'd be nice to have Lexi play with the confidence, because now we can play Chloe off the ball, which is, kind of her natural position, even though last year you saw her a lot at the point because of Berger being out. Yeah, she's had a great preseason, and we expect a lot from her.
Coach, congratulations on the win.
Yep.
You're talking about being able to see everyone tonight. We saw 8 minutes in the first half of Lily Meister. 52 was pulling down rebounds, scoring, dishing off. Tell me not only what you liked. I mean, her dominance in the paint when she was in looked like a future All-American, looked like a future 54. Talk about not only what you liked about her, but talk about also the flexibility. I noticed in that fourth quarter you played her in the 4. So
Right.
Tell us a little something about that, please.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, and we've seen Lily, she does have the ability to shoot it beyond the arc, even though she was a little bit short on the last one, or the only one that she took. But, I thought she was such a quiet kid last year for us, but she was so productive and so integral and important in so many of those games. She's just continued. Again, she's changed her body a little bit. She's put on really good weight. When I say weight, muscle, she's worked tirelessly with Coach Rhett, in the gym outside of practice times. But, like I mentioned with Lexi, there's just a different comfort level about both of them. And Lily feels, I think, certainly comfortable. She kind of knows how we do things now. She knows what to expect in practice. She knows that she's going to have to come in and relieve Mac, and she knows that her minutes that we do give her are very important because we still need an inside presence. And so I'd love it if she could be another All-American post player for us, but certainly she's talented and continues to get better.
Coach, throughout the game, and especially in the first quarter when the starters were still in, we saw a lot of pushing the ball up the court and scoring on the break. Is that sort of fast play what we can expect in the future, and is that going to continue into Big Ten play?
Are you new to us?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's fine. I'm just asked because that's how we want to play. That's part of our ammo. That's we talk a lot about, and a lot of schools do, a lot of teams do, about playing fast and wanting to play downhill. But it's certainly something that we pride ourselves in. We practice it. We do it every single day. Our kids like to play that way. And, when you have playmakers, but you also have kids that are unselfish, that move the ball, are willing to make the extra pass, it's fun. And so, yes, that was part of the game plan in the second half, but we didn't get as many runouts in that second half as we did the first. And so that's what Lexi has to come in, and Henna and Bo, they have to continue to push the ball like the Sarahs do, and Yardens and Chloe's do. We need that next unit to come in and push the ball for sure.
Terry, you talked a while ago about wanting to protect Mackenzie's workload, especially early in the season, like in practices. How much of an emphasis is that in games like tonight? And are you maybe kind of hoping to scale back a little bit the amount of minutes she's playing in some of these early season non-conference games? And how well equipped do you think your front court depth is to handle that?
Yeah, and Skip asked, about Lily. I mean, we felt very comfortable with what Lily can provide for us. She's probably ticked that she only played 14 minutes, right? And you look at her her line's pretty impressive. But Seth, I keep saying it. We got to protect Mac from Mac because she feels really good. And we have in practice. We've really managed her, I think, well in practice. But she also has to. There is such a thing as, and we see it when players get injured. The rhythm, the flow. If they don't, we still got to provide her with minutes where they're enough that she always feels like she has rhythm when she gets in. To the next game and on to the next game. And so. Certainly there are some, it puts me in a conundrum sometimes also because there's things out there that she can accomplish here. And I have to make sure that I am doing right by her to make sure I put her in those positions to accomplish some of those goals, not that she has, but that this program has for Mackenzie.
You pulled Juliana aside during, I think, a free throw from Lily and talked to her for a little bit. And then the next offensive possession, she scored her first points of the night. Just what did you say to her in that, or how did you encourage her there?
I think she and Bo were, again, just their typical freshmen, nerves, butterflies. And so I just told her to relax, right? And then I coached her up on the defensive side of the ball when we were, out of our blobs and slob defense. She had a little bit of a miscue, so I just reminded her, coached her up, and then I just reminded her to relax and have fun. And And so, she smiled, which gave me great relief. And then she hit that layup, which I was thrilled about because I thought if she misses this, I might have to take her out and, sit her and really have a conversation with her. But she handles herself, like I said. She just, I can't overstate it, guys. These two just want to do right. They just want to please us and do everything perfectly. And as I keep telling them there's no perfect game. They're going to make mistakes, but their job is to play through those and put them in the rearview mirror and move forward and make something good happen on the next play.
Natalia, and then last question on Zoom. Hey, Coach. Sarah went 5 for 8 from 3 tonight. How important do you think that was for her early confidence, and what did you think of her game tonight?
Well, again, she's been shooting the ball really well in practice. As I've said, Sarah Scalia looks the best that she's ever looked in her career in terms of fitness level. I think her mind, her confidence, all of it. And it's great and that she can come in and she can shoot it with the confidence, and we're going to need her to continue to do that. We know this about her. She is lethal. She is lethal. She can cause problems for the defense. I just want her to do what all great shooters do. When in doubt, shoot it. Always be in doubt. And if she misses one, she needs to come back and have a short memory and knock the next one down. But I thought she played great tonight. It was great to see how comfortable she looked as well, because I think we forget. She and Sid, and we had 6 newcomers last year that were all new to everything. And so, I think Sarah looks extremely comfortable.
Question on Zoom, Zach Osterman from the Indy Star. Zach, go ahead.
Hi, Zach.
Can you turn the volume up on the computer, please? Hang on, Zach.
He's on mute. He was.
Zach, try again.
All right, can you hear me? I'm not
Yes.
muted on my end.
Yep.
All right. Sorry to veer away from the game again. You've talked about this a little bit, but I wanted to ask you too, just as someone, I recognize this answer could be hours long in some ways, but as someone who grew up in Southern Indiana, you've talked about growing up around IU basketball and Coach Knight's program. I guess, how would you explain to someone his cultural importance to the state in terms of, his teams, but also his legacy, his personality, all those different kinds of things? I recognize.
Yeah, I think that would be long. He's what we call the GOAT, right? That he did it in a way that nobody's ever done it, and did it with players that might look and be a little unathletic at times, but his motion offense was something of a beauty, and the way he taught the game, and the way he coached those guys up. I get to hear a lot of stories, especially from Timmy G, who's, was with Coach Knight for the longest time, and how he would run practices and the expectations and the standards, which I've already talked about. The one thing, Zach, that I go back to is just the discipline that he had. He, defensively, just stingy defensively, disciplined defensively, all of it. And then, just the way that he could put his men in position to take advantage of the team that was guarding them defensively. He was masterful at being able to pick defenses apart. And I don't know that we've seen another person or coach like him, since he's been out of the game.